Good day to you. I hope you're not suffering from the cold. Today I'm making sanders, which some people call cottage or shepherd's pie. It's a perfect way of making use of cold meat and is very much liked in low-class establishments and Audley End House servants' hall. For this recipe you will need potatoes, mutton, mushroom ketchup, nutmeg, butter, cayenne pepper, seasoning, and gravy. This is a cold meat cookery dish, ideal for using up the remains of a roast. You can use any meat. Today, I'm using mutton, which is from older sheep. I've already started to mince my meat. Mutton is usually from sheep that are about 4 or 5 years old. The older the better. The best mutton I've ever eaten is about 10 years old. It has more flavour than lamb. But for this dish you could use beef or any other kind of meat. Some people use mincing machines for this, but I prefer hand mincing. Machines just squash the meat, which would be suitable for a low-class establishment or for institutional cooking, where you're cooking for lots of people, but it isn't the mark of a good kitchen. Now I'm going to mash my potatoes while they're still warm. It's important to use plenty of butter and a good amount of salt to give it flavour. Some people mash their potatoes cold, and you could keep some back, slice them and put them on the top at the end. I've always called this Sanders or Saunders, and Eliza Acton calls it that too. But some people call it cottage pie or shepherd's pie. But it isn't a pie now, is it? Because there's no pastry. I believe in Scotland they do make it with pastry as well as the potatoes. But I think Sanders is a more honest name. I'm now going to flavour my meat with a little nutmeg, a little cayenne pepper, some pepper, and a splash of mushroom ketchup. It's good to consider your seasoning, as in inexperienced hands, this dish could be very bland. I'm going to add a little bit of gravy, as cooked meats can be very dry. If you were serving this to a middle-class family, then it's an ideal dish for a luncheon or a small family dinner. But you can serve it as an individual dish, in a small bowl or scallop shell. If you were making it a superior dish, then you could use raw meat, but that would take longer and be less economical. To build my sanders, I'm going to put a layer of potato in the bottom of this dish, which I've lined with lard, and then put in my mutton and then another layer of potato. It's important to have many recipes to use cold meat. Here at Audley End, like many country houses, we waste nothing. So this mutton was served as a roast to Lord Braybrooke yesterday evening. But if you're in a household where you're the only servant, or you run a household without any servants, you must have plenty of recipes to use a large Sunday roast and make it stretch through the week. And there we are. It'll go in the oven for about 30 minutes. This has just come out of the oven and it smells delightful. There we are, Sanders or cottage or shepherd's pie. A good way to use cold meats and provide a hearty winter dish.